Hello, my name is Ramon Haken. I'm co-founder at Avilar. Avilar is a company based in Eindhoven, and we are representing the SAGA project here in Brussels today.
Ramon, this is an interesting project because I see it's a project which also has generated a new company, and you are one of the people with a startup company. So maybe we start with the project first, the European funded project. And I see a drone here. Could you explain what this drone is all about? Is this how is it being used, and what is the subject of your new business, of your company? But we start with the project.
Okay, this project is about using multiple drones in agriculture to map a field and to determine where are the crops and where are the weeds. There is a lot of variety within the field, within every field. And once you determine the differences within the field, you can apply very precise rates of fertilizer, pesticide, for example. So you can take into account the differences within the field and act to it, and that's really good for the environment because you can save input materials basically.
But as you said, it's a swarm of drones, or?
Yes, so with multiple drones.
Multiple drones.
So the idea is that in a couple of years it will be possible to have one operator, one pilot, to fly multiple drones. And we think that is the way to make it scalable, to use drones in agriculture for mapping. And there are some other advantages, because if you have multiple drones you can make them lighter, meaning that they are more safe in case of a crash, but also you can take cheaper cameras, for example. So you don't have to bring very expensive cameras, but you can make them cheaper. And we think this is the way to make it scalable in agriculture.
So then you have the problem of fusing all the information coming from the different drones, or?
Yeah, there's multiple strategies that you can take. But the idea is that if there are more reads in a certain area, you can attract other drones and help out to map it faster instead of doing it.
What flight level is the drone? Are the drones flying? What is the height?
At 3 meters.
At 3 meters.
From 3 meters, so that's really low.
Yes, it's very low. It's almost like the tractors now. The tractors are much higher now.
Yes, that's correct.
So, and is it already being used or tested in fields or with crops? What is the
status of the project is that we grew a trial field with crops and weeds, and we did a lot of a lot of flights over the field. And so what we did is we did a lot of vision, so we can distinguish the crops and the weeds. That's our partner at Wageningen University. They are responsible for that part. And starting from December, we will integrate the swarming strategy from our Italian partner to include it, and it will all come together. So
okay, so the project is step by step more complex.
Exactly.
Would you please explain what this the centerpiece of this drone is all about? Because this looks like a lot of electronics.
That's correct. So this is a drone, and it's easy to use it for different research and development applications. So if there is an application that you want to demonstrate, you can use the platform. It's like an Arduino. Maybe you're familiar with that. A cheap hardware platform.
Yes.
But then for mobile robots, so robots that go from A to B, and everything is on there. So the sensors to navigate, the battery to power the electronics, but also the motors, the communication modules. So everything is in there, and also the camera, of course, to map the crops.
So the idea is to build or to develop a multi-purpose system.
Exactly.
Which can be used in a drone, but also can be used in a, let's say, vehicle.
Exactly. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time, because placing the sensors, it's really difficult to make a setup where everything works together seamlessly, and that's the approach that we take. So,
and how is your startup relating to this project now? Is this are you interested in selling drones?
We are interested in selling drones, but also the boxes that are inside the drones.
Yes.
And we're getting some traction in the market.
Can we turn this upside down to see what is underneath? It's just the cooling system?
This is the battery.
Yes.
And the camera is here in the front.
Oh, I see, yes. Mm-hmm.
And the airflow can go right through the drone for cooling of all the components. And on top you see the GPS sensor. So with that sensor you can determine where you are on the field with 2 centimeters precision.
That's
very precise.
Extremely good. And all your computation, onboard computation, is here in this cooling box. So it's
exactly.
And then you have some radio
communication links. Yeah, so that's the idea. So we want to make it easy to use the different components on the drone. They're fairly standard components, but what we see is like you need a basic set of components to get started with a robot. And you want to get started fast, and typically robotic projects take very long before you can get to the actual point of doing the research. So maybe half of the time you spend on getting everything to work before you can do the actual project or research, and we speed it up.
How long does it take to get into the marketplace or into actual use?
We started in 2014, so that's a couple of years ago. Hardware development takes time. It's not like making an app and launch it immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're getting there. We have some customers for the box that use them for different applications. So we see traction, and within the project we've learned a lot that we can apply also there.
Because we started with the multiple drones. When I look at marketing the box only, does this still include the possibility to communicate with other robots or vehicles?
Exactly.
So I could use it for autonomous cars, for example, or in logistics, or wherever.
It's up to your imagination.
Okay. Yeah. So this will be a very good piece. I assume this will be a successful development for your company because this piece, and it looks really convincing to me, is useful in many applications. And
thank you.
So, how long do you think your company needs until you can sell, let's say, a few hundred per year?
2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're selling some prototypes now. We're getting a lot of feedback from the customers. We can experiment also within the project. So there's different ways, different teams. So this is about swarming. We made some adaptations to make sure that we can use it for swarming. But there are some other areas as well. And we're getting really concrete, but also good feedback from the projects and customers.
Congratulations for your company, to create companies, entrepreneurship. This is still something we should support, and congratulations for the project and the ideas. So I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.